And today we'll be seeing how the truth, finding the truth yourself, will help us in filtering out what is real, what is pseudo, and correct path, whether when we are on the wrong path or we are on the right path. And so today's petal, Uttam Satya, discover truth yourself, is extremely important. In Uttam Satya Dharma, we know that we talk about telling the truth, not telling the lies, and not talking something which hurts the others or something which can put other people in the danger. So that is one aspect of Satya Dharma. But today we are going to talk about another extremely important aspect of Satya Dharma, that is discovering the truth yourself. What Bhagwan Mahavir calls Appana Satya Meseja. A very, very simple sutra given by Bhagwan Mahavir will help us to transform ourselves, to move us to the higher levels, help us in minimizing pain, misery, suffering, fear, anxiety, inferiority complex, to the positive aspects of our life. Peace of mind, celebration, festivity, creativity, love, caring, sharing. And this one simple sutra is going to transform and help in transforming our life. So it is extremely important that we understand this dimension and take steps to get into the more detail. We know a lot of information. We have collected a lot of words. We have memorized a lot of words. But those words are not going to transform ourselves, not going to bring the permanent change. For that, we need discovering the truth ourselves. Because anything discovered by others, the truth discovered by others, is not going to help us. We need to discover that truth ourselves. Because once we discover the truth, we get what we call as Atmanubhuti, your own experience. And that experience will transform your life. So just saying certain things in the words and putting them in our life are two different things. And so whatever we have learned, we need to start putting them into our life. Like when we learn chemistry or physics or other engineering subjects, we learn first theory. And then we go into the laboratory and then repeat the experiment and then say, yes, this is proven. So in the chemistry laboratory, we do some chemical reaction and theory says the red litmus must turn into blue. And here we take the red litmus and after the experiment put it in the solution, and here it turns blue. And then we say, yes, this experiment is true. Same way, whatever principles we have learned by way of words, by way of memory, by way of listening to others or reading, now we need to start putting them into action. We need to start experimenting with them in the laboratory of our own life. Yes, friends, in the laboratory of our own life, we need to start putting these principles to the test. And out of the Atmanubhuti, out of our own experience, then we can say, yes, I applied this principle and red litmus becomes blue. And this Atmanubhuti will help us in transforming our life. Otherwise, the change in our life will be temporary. It will come and then it will disappear after some time. And that is how we know anger is bad since we were small children. But even today, we haven't been able to transform ourselves and minimize the anger because we haven't gone into the laboratory of our own life and tested out those principles. We didn't get the Atmanubhuti that the anger is wrong. We didn't get Atmanubhuti that ego is what hurts us very much. We didn't get the Atmanubhuti that greed is the root cause of all our pain, misery and suffering. So, apana such a message, such a simple sutra, just 3 words, but that is the key to transforming ourselves. What theory we have learned, we need to put it to the test and then observe what are the results and compare and match. So through Appanna Satya Messagam and the Atmanubhuti which we get, our own experience which we get, that is the key to the transformation. A monk was staying and he was running a Gurukul. Like in the olden days, the children or the students will go and stay with the Guru. And they will stay there and they will learn there. And once their education is over, they will come back. So in this typical Gurukul, and they used to start the first teaching session at 4:30 in the morning. So this typical day, all children are sitting there in a hut. And they were all staying in those days in small huts. And their guru also staying in a hut and their classes also in a slightly bigger huts. So not like the modern day schools where you have posh buildings, you have air conditioning, you have latest gadgets and equipments and cafeteria and all sort of things. No, it was a very, very simple environment. So in this particular hut, all the students, all the disciples got there together and waiting for the Guru to come. And it is almost 4:30 and the Guru arrives. And 4:30, so it is dark. And as Guru arrives, he asks one student to go in the another hut where there is the book lying and say, bring that book, we will be studying that now. So this student goes to another hut where the book is, and he comes running back. He was running so fast that he was gasping for the breath, very heavy breathing happening. His body is trembling. Even though it was cold, 4:30 in the morning, and in winter, his body was perspiring. And his face, all fear on his face, trembling. So Guru asked, what happened? And he says, I was about to die. A big snake is there, a big cobra is there. And it came and it was about to bite me. As I entered the hut, it was about to bite me. And so I ran away and somehow saved myself. Guru looked at him and he said, you go again and bring the book. The boy said, no way, I am sorry. But this time if I go, definitely cobra is going to bite me. Last time he just missed by a few inches. The Guru said, no problem, I will take care of the cobra. You take this small lamp, and there was a small lamp there. So he said, you take this small lamp and go and bring the book now. And the boy went. And in few minutes they came back. He was smiling and laughing. And he brought the book. And the Guru said, what happened? He said, oh, it was just a rope. Because of the air, it was moving here, there. And because of the darkness, I could not see. I thought it is a snake, it is a cobra. This lamp, a small lamp, but it gave the light. And the darkness was removed, and I could see the things as they are. And this is exactly what happens to us. We look at the things in the darkness of our ignorance. We evaluate things in the darkness of our ignorance. We speculate on things in the darkness of our ignorance. And apana such a message means discover your truth. Forces us to be alert, to look at the things in the light of our knowledge. So, in the knowledge of the light, in the light that we get, the knowing we get because of our search for the truth, so So when we do the real search for the truth, we put these things in the laboratory of our own life and try to do the Atma Sakshatkar, Atmanubhuti. We see the things in a real light. And so many of the problems in our life, they disappear. Because in the very first place, those problems were not real. Because of our ignorance, we thought it's a problem. Because there is a darkness, and in the air, this is swinging. The rope is swinging. And so this boy thinks there is a big problem. And he has to run. And he has to save himself. And he is perspiring. His body is trembling. He is gasping for the breath. The moment there is a light, that problem is not there because it is not real. So because of the ignorance, we imagine that there is a problem and we start fighting with the shadows. We start solving the pseudo problems which do not exist. And we spend a lot of efforts, a lot of energy, a lot of time in solving the problems which are pseudo, which are not real. They are there because of our ignorance. And that is one important reason why we need to start discovering the truth ourselves. That discovering the truth, Atmanubhuti, works like a GPS for us. It gives us the direction. It tells us, yeah, this is not real. Why waste time in solving this problem? So 50 to 60% of our problems in the life would disappear if we start doing and discovering the things for ourselves. A person threw a party and he invited some friends. And there was a person, a blind person who was his friend. So he invited that person also. And he offered him to be picked up. But he said, the blind person said, no, I am just staying close by to your house and it is just 10 minutes walk. And so, and it is a regular road, I know it very well, so I will come on my own. And so he arrives, it's late in the evening and he arrives on time. The party started. And party is over. It is late in the night and there is a darkness and everybody started going. So this blind friend also said, it's time for me to go. So his friend told him, look, I will give you a small lamp, small lantern, and you carry that with you. And the blind fellow was laughing and he said, you must be teasing me. You know I am blind. How does that lamp help me? Even with that lamp, I cannot see. So what's the point? I think you must be teasing. But the other friend said, no, I am not teasing. I am really serious. and I know you are blind, and with this small lantern, there is no way you can see anything. But the lantern is for other people to see that someone is walking on the road. And so they will not bump into you. So that is why I am giving the lantern. And the blind man said, yeah, that looks very logical. That at least the other fellow who is coming in the opposite direction will know that someone is walking. And so he agreed, and he is carrying that lantern with him and returning to his home. And now, normally he would be very, very careful walking and trying to judge whether somebody is coming by listening to the noise of walking and all that. But now he said, oh, I have the lantern with me, and anybody coming will see that somebody is walking. And so he was little careless in that sense. And he is walking, and to his surprise, somebody bumped into him. And this blind fellow got very, very angry, and he said, can you not see? Can you not see my lantern burning? And in spite of that, you are bumping into me? And the other fellow who bumped into him said, my friend, your lantern is not burning. Maybe it got, because of the wind. The flame is not there. And so it is completely dark. And this blind man, not knowing, not able to see, was always thinking that the lantern is on and others are able to see, and then nobody will bump into me. Similarly, we have a tendency of thinking that we know everything and we don't have to be alert and we don't have to learn anything new. And so that type of thing will hold us back in exploring further, trying to find the truth, because we will always think that my lantern is on and there is a light around it. And so we need to be very, very alert in re-examining whether that what we think we know is real or not. And so a farmer had a farm, but a rainy season will come and go, and sometimes the rains will come, sometimes the rains will not come on time, and he was in a big trouble. So his friend came and he said, yeah, you must dig the well, in your farm, and then whether the rainy season gives the rain or not, you are not dependent on the rainy season. You can use the water from the well and then cultivate different crops. And this fellow thought, yeah, that's a good idea. And when his friend came back after 1 year to visit him, and he found in his farm there were 7 places where he has dug for the well. And he went around and he saw one place, it was 2 feet deep, in some other place maybe 3 feet deep, in some other place maybe 2.5 feet deep. So all the 7 were dug up little bit, and another place little bit, and another place little bit. And this friend asked, what are you doing? He said, I tried the water there and I dug up 2 feet, but there is no water. So I thought, this is another place, let me dig up there. And I didn't get the water, so I dug up at another place. Like that, I have already dug so many times, but no water. What to do? And friends told him, look, first you have to identify the likely place where the water will be, and then dig, and dig only at that place. So the friend helped him to locate the area where there could be likely water, and then told him, now you dig only at this place. You dig only at this place, and you have to keep digging until you reach the water. No point in digging several places, 2 feet, 3 feet, you will never get water like that. Similarly, in the process of inner purification, we need to identify the area of purification and then keep working on that continuously, digging up and digging up and digging up until our purification process shows the result. So if we don't know exactly what is to be purified, so we will work one place little bit, and after 4 or 5 weeks we will give up and we'll go to another place and try another thing, and another 4 or 5 weeks we go to the third, and like that we'll be just wandering from one to another without getting any result. But if you do the process of discovering the truth yourself, you will know the area, and then you will keep digging at the place until you reach the water level. So once you identify the area correctly, you will keep doing the purification process until you see some good results. So just thinking that I know and I don't have to do anything is not good enough. You have to go through the process of Appana Satya message. Discover the truth yourself. And that's to be done in multiple areas, because the impurity in our Chetan Shakti is coming from multiple ways. At least the 4 we have seen: the Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, the anger, the ego, the greed, and each one has multiple layers. It is not just one layer and you are done. No, like this farmer who is digging for the well, first there will be a soft mud and he will remove it. Then you get a little harder one, you remove that. Then you start getting the loose rocks and you remove that, and then he starts getting the hard rock and more difficult to break. More efforts will be needed, and once he starts breaking the hard rocks, he has to keep breaking them down and go deeper until he gets the water source. So once the water source is there, that water will come up. Similarly, each one of this, multiple layers are there, and we'll have to keep going layer by layer. Once the first layer, then it is the second layer. So like we peel the onion, one layer is peeled, you get another layer inside. That is peeled, you get another layer inside. So same way, whether it is ego, whether it is anger, whether it is greed, multiple layers. And so to rediscover that, we need to go through the process of Appana, such a message, so that we try to understand, we try to experience, you get the Atmanubhuti, which is very important. Unless you yourself experience that, permanent change will not come. Transformation will not take place. We may be doing a lot of efforts, but then that is not going to help. Another important thing we need to remember when you are searching for the truth, that whatever knowledge we say we have acquired, in today's world, majority of us are highly qualified. We have studied in some of the best institutions. We scored good grading. Some of us are gold medalists. We have multiple degrees. We are working in some of the best organizations or having our own good business. We are successful there. And we keep up to date with all that is happening around. We keep searching for the things. The internet is there, we do the Google search and study and all that. And so we are knowledgeable, yes. But we must remember that knowledge is for the outer. That knowledge, what we have accumulated, is useful for the outer. And the rules for the outer and the rules for the inner are different. In many cases, they are exactly opposite. And so, those rules which we use in the external, in the outer, are not useful in the inner. We need to learn the rules of inner. There is no way you can run the inner with the rules from the outer. A blind man went for a dinner to his friend's house, and he was blind from the birth. And in the gathering there, people were discussing, oh, how beautiful the flowers are, and the colors of the butterflies, and the rainbow colors, and the color during the rising sun. And all about colors, and how this is beautiful, how that is beautiful. And this friend, blind, for him no way to know what the color is. For him all colors are same. Everything is darkness. Whether it is colors of the butterfly, or colors of the rainbow, or the beautiful colors in the garden. And so in the dinner, they had made a good dish, out of the rice, Let's take out something like rice pudding. So a lot of milk in that, and so nice dish. And this blind man is saying, "Oh, this is good dish. How does it look?" And a friend said, "Oh, it is white, white." So blind man said, "White means how it is? Can I touch the white and find out how it is white?" And friend said, "No, by touching you cannot identify the colors." But he insisted. He said, "Give me any other object which is white." So this fellow had a bird called swan, and white, white. So he brought in that small bird, little swan, and he said, "Look, this swan is white." And so the blind fellow touched the swan and he said, "Oh, it is like this, his neck is like this, and then it is going down and again bending and then again bending." And he touched that and he said, "Oh, this is how the white is." And he told the friends, "Yeah, now I understand what is white. Something which is, curved in 1, 2, 3 places. And that is the white." But there is no way a blind man can understand the colors. So they took him, a very famous monk had come, and they said, he wants to understand the colors. And so, can you explain him the colors? What is the white, and what is the red, and what is the green? The monk says, there is only one way. But luckily that monk was a doctor earlier, and he examined this fellow's eyes and he said, "Oh," and he had some medicine. So he said, "We can cure these eyes." And he put the medicine for 3 days, and this man was able to see. So the monk said, "Now, do you want somebody to explain you what is the color?" And this person said, "Absolutely no. Now I can see what the color is." And this is exactly when we go from outer to the inner, many areas are such that we need to learn that. We need to discover how it is using the Apana Meseja technique. Like the blind fellow, you cannot touch it and try to find out how the white color is. No. Like the monk cured his eyesight and then he could see. Same way, this knowledge, major part of that will not be useful there. We'll be like blind fellows inside if we don't rediscover the truth there. So even though knowledge which is useful in the outer, it is very useful in the getting the livelihood and maintaining the relationship with the people and all that. But assuming that the same knowledge is useful inside, and so you don't have to do any discovery of the truth, will be like this blind fellow trying to identify the color by touching it. So definitely we need to get rid of that ego that I am very knowledgeable. That knowledge is for the outer world. And inner is much different. And let us see just the few things on how it is different. So we get some perspective. So like I am sitting here or you are sitting here, and then there is a magnetic pull from the earth which is holding us down on the earth. So that is the one force on our body. The earth is rotating around itself. So that rotation creates another force. And the earth is moving around the sun. That is creating yet another force. And the sun is moving around the star. So like that, there are multiple forces in the outer, along with the body. Now if you go little inside the body, there is a blood flowing, the blood is being pumped, we are breathing, a lot of things are happening within our body, all gland secretions are there. So those are the things happening. So we need to start increasing our awareness, start knowing all those things. Then this is our physical body. Inside there is a Tejas body, what we call as the energy body. Things are different there. But that is influencing us. So we need to go deeper and start understanding that. And then there's a Karman body, much more microscopic. And we need to understand that. And between Tejas body and Karman body, there are other multiple layers. So like a karma, fruition is happening, a karma vipak is taking place. And the pure energy, Chetan Shakti coming from our Atma, our soul. And this karma flux is getting mixed with it. And that is what is bringing the impurity. And then there is a stage what we call as a Adhyavasaya. We will not go into the English term of that Adhyavasaya. So this will just use the original terms to understand it. And then after Adhyavasaya, the bhavnas or passions are getting generated. And from passions we have the electromagnetic force, what we call as a lesha. So based on our bhavnas, the leshas are there, and those leshas, magnetic force, is coming in our what we call as a bhamandal, halo around us. And then they are coming to Tejas body, and from there going to the glands and sympathetic and parasympathetic systems to our nervous system and coming to the body. So these are all various forces which are active there, and they influence our impurity. They influence what is happening inside. And the outer, as we have seen, is the manifestations of what is there inside. Inside are the roots, and outer is simply the manifestation. So just to give an example as to why the outer knowledge, outer skills may not be useful inside. Many of the cases, and that is really not useful. So you need to go through the process of Atmanubhuti, Apana Satcha Message, rediscover the truth. Doing experiments in the laboratory of your own life. This is important. The truth, experience of truth, you cannot borrow from anybody. That grows on you. Like we can bring the plastic flowers, but they will not grow. the flowers have to grow on the tree. Same way, Atmanubhuti has to grow in your own inner laboratory of life. And rediscovering truth is the way. And that's why I thought we quickly have this concept clear. And to improve our ability to get the real Atmanubhuti, to go through the process of searching for the truth. Another technique is used, and Bhagwan Mahavira has given a very wonderful technique. And in the original terms, we call it Nishchaynay and Vyavharnay. That is, the Vyavharnay is ordinary standpoint of view, and Nishchaynay is the real standpoint of view. So in this, we look at the things in two different dimensions. One is a very broad, that which is visible to our eyes. So we see a table, we see a chair, and we think, oh, it is like this and it is like that. It is a solid something. And Nishchaynaya, that is the realistic point of view, says something different. In today's science, they say there is nothing like a solid thing. Everything is electron, protons and neutrons. Everything is energy. Only thing, because these electron, protons are moving very, very fast, we think it's a solid. But if we go deeper and deeper and deeper, there are only electrons, protons. And so it's like a energy there. So two ways of looking at it, and once we develop those two ways, we will get the skills to go deeper and deeper. Let's take an example, another example. And those two friends were discussing, and one friend, let's call he is a party, is a crow party. So he says the crow is black. And another friend, let us call him, is a party of swan. So he says the swan is white. And one fellow saying crow is black, another fellow swan white, and then they say, see, the crow and swan exactly opposite of each other. One is black, one is white. And one fellow was passing by, so the crown party called him and said, sir, the crow is black. And that fellow said, yes, crow is black, agreed. It's very visible. And another fellow came, and the swan party called him and said, sir, the swan is white. Do you agree? And he said, yeah, it's obvious, very clear. The swan is white. And now one more fellow passing by. And crow party called him and says, sir, crow is black. That fellow said, yeah, but crow has other colors also. It's not totally black. And the crow party, he didn't agree. But that fellow went by. And same, the next person come. He was called by the swan party and said, sir, the swan is white. And he said, swan is white, not all together, but there are other things, other colors also. And those two went, and this fellow's crown party and crow party and the swan party, they were saying, oh, these fellows don't know, I think. And one old wise man was passing by, so they said, sir, can you come for a minute? And we have a question for you. Sir, this crow is black. And that one fellow going by, he said, no, no, it is not just black. And swan is white. And the other fellow who went by, he says, swan is not just white. What do you say? So that fellow, wise old man, he said, look, when you look from the ordinary point of view, crow is black, swan is white. But if you go deeper, you look at the microscopic level of the crow and of the swan. The blood of crow is red. So crow has not just black, but the red color. The swan, the blood is red. So he not only has a white color, but he has a red color. And if you go deeper, like crow, if he does his poo, it is white. So that is another color. And if you go deeper, if you see the vents of the crow, they may be greenish. And the color of the bones is different. So if you go at the microscopic level, at the realistic level, the crow has all the 5 colors. And similarly, the swan has all the 5 colors. And at the broad level, from the ordinary point of view, crow and swan are exactly opposite to each other. At the microscopic level, they are exactly the same, because crow has 5 colors, swan has 5 colors. So this is the way we need to go deeper and deeper, open up the layer by layer. And then we should develop this Vyavaharnaya and Nishchanaya, ordinary standpoint and the realistic standpoint of it. And if you develop that ability, and which will take time, it's not that you immediately get the skill. Every skill takes time, it takes efforts, and it takes dedication. But important part is that in search of truth, you need to undergo all these things. Learn all those skills. Because it is very, very important. Once you learn the skills, your GPS is going to show you the correct things. It will tell you, hey guy, this is not a real problem. Why spend effort in solving? It is not a cobra, it is just the rope. So 70% of our problem in real life will just vanish, because in the very first place, they are coming because of our ignorance, because we are groping in the dark. And once we light the lamp of knowing, the knowledge, those problems will disappear. And to save on the efforts, like the farmer was digging small, digging for 2 feet and digging 4 feet, and he put 7 of those things and wasted so much efforts. And if he first would have done the diagnosis and identified the place where the water is, and then digging only at that place until he goes the water. So that is the way. Just a glimpse about how we can handle this dimension. So friends, we today saw one more dimension of the search for the truth and search yourself. Search the truth yourself. Because the truth searched by others is of no value to you. It can just work as a guidelines. But you need to get into the Atmanubhuti by doing the experiments in the laboratory of your own life. That is the key. So the four petals which we have seen so far, that is the thing, inner impurities. We need to purify that. And the fifth, Satya, is going to work as a GPS for us, as to identifying which is wrong and which is right, and leave the wrong out and focus on the right things to be improved. The other aspect of Satya, that is to tell the truth, not to tell the lies, that is a separate aspect, but we haven't looked into that today. We totally focused on the simple, very effective sutra given by Bhagavan Mahavir regarding the Satya, regarding the truth, is Apana Satya Messenger. Discover the truth yourself. And then you go through the process of Atmanubhuti. And that is what will bring the transformation. With this, we conclude today's lecture. Om Aram.